Now, girl, they'd love the shit out of that.
Okay.
You.
Speak up at any time, you know. So I'm not going to address it to anyone in particular.
Okay.
But
He's here.
the history would have to be, you know, one of you two guys or both to be the total history to go back.
Total history.
But yeah, brief. Possible history.
What's the general-
major points?
17 years and 35 seconds.
So what's the general length of this whole thing so we know how to condense it?
Yeah, how long is it going to be? How much footage you need?
Depends on.
Depends how interesting it is.
Don't
Depends.
worry.
I have to be somewhere tomorrow by
Make the
noon.
briefest history that you can.
Okay, brief.
17 years ago, and
Someone brief.
Where it all began.
Where did it all begin?
Do you want me to get you to?
No.
Can't begin to notice.
Yeah, you guys just talk.
what's that?
Actually, it all began 17 years ago when Jerry joined the Boys. That's when it all began. I was in the Boys at that time, and the band was splitting, and we needed a bass player. Jerry heard that we needed a bass player.
Enter Jerry.
Enter Jerry. So why don't you tell him what you did?
What I did? Well, I auditioned for the band, got the job, and
Downhill ever since.
played with the Boys from 1970 through late 76, through the Timothy era, and all of that notoriety with Top 13 with Timothy. We had our own plane flying all around the country, and then things went downhill, and we were riding.
Who was your pilot then?
Rick Lightjes was our pilot. Actually, he was. He was crazy then too. Anyway, we had a good, and Timothy was out. Like I said, we had fun playing all over the country. And a few months later, when it all caved in, we were driving in the back of the truck cross country,
Nebraska.
drinking wine to keep warm in the dead of winter. You know, so things go up and down.
Now we're up to Miller.
Okay, so when did it go up again?
When did it go up again? When we left the Boys in 1977, and I decided that it was time to test the waters as far as original music, and it seemed like we were the only two that wanted to take the chance and go that direction. So, you know, it was shouting matches back and forth for a while until finally, you know, what he and I had to do is part company with the Boys and move on. It was just time, you know, you kind of know when it's time to move on. Next.
I was at the time graduating grammar school,
That's right, he's a young pup.
working on drooling, things like that.
That's right,
But
you were there.
seriously, folks,
77, I was on the way to being a man. I was playing bands. We'll edit that out.
so then,
So
what
then,
happened?
So then, we left the Boys and we put the Jerry Kelly band together. And when we did, we put our first set of original music together. And we wanted to get it on tape. And we talked to George Graham about a show he had just started called Homegrown Music,
from WVIA.
VIA.
WVIA.
And hey, isn't this a coincidence?
Hey,
And
like that?
we went up there and we recorded I think it was three songs, right?
Magic,
Right?
Dear Love, Silly Boy.
4 songs. We recorded 4 songs and sent them out to a very good friend of ours, Mike Stahl, who was mixing house sound, live sound for Chicago. And he played the music, the tape, over the sound system every night on the tour. And people were reacting to it. Who is that? Whatever. Finally, he got Danny Serif and the drummer of Chicago to listen to the tape, and he was very interested. And he called Jerry one night and said, you know, I'd like to come in to see the band. So he came into Pottsville, Pennsylvania, along with his partner Hawk Walensky, whose latest claim to fame is playing the role of punching bag for Sean Penn. David and Danny came into Pottsville, a place called The Alley, and they saw us live, and the rest was just, they were convinced. It was now just deciding when we're going to do this. And it was right after that, they called and set up the time frame, and it was shortly after that that Terry Kath, the guitarist from Chicago, had accidentally shot and killed himself. So it was put on hold for a while, and then it was back on again, and we went out to L.A. and recorded the Jerry Kelly album, Somebody Else's Dream. Or as George says, somebody else's dream. Just kidding, George.
Okay, next step.
Your turn. You gotta ask the question.
Yeah, well, you gotta get this interview thing down, Jack.
Can you hit me with the history? I mean, this is like with no questions, just ramble on.
Yeah, just
Okay, where
Well,
were
I
we?
don't know your history that well.
Rambling guys. Okay, after George Graham, okay, Somebody Else's Dream, boom, 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 boom. Okay, then that record kind of was like a frisbee, you know, open the window, throw it out, you know? Just like spill my beer all over the place. It got no support from Epic. That was on Epic Records. And there was some problems between the president of Epic at the time and our producer, which didn't help, but nevertheless, you know, that was the case. And after that record went down, someone at Columbia was interested in picking up the act. So Don Ellis and Terry Powell, who were with CBS Columbia of the West Coast, flew into Newark, Delaware to see the band. We got signed to Columbia, did the first Dakota record, of which we changed our name from Jerry Kelly to Dakota while we were doing that record in Montreal. And while we were recording the record, Don Ellis left CBS. And what happened to the first record, same thing, the people that signed Jerry Kelly to Epic, by the time the record was finished, left. Same thing with the Columbia album. You know, by the time the record was finished and out, the people who supported the project in the beginning weren't there. So the new people come in, just like with film. You know, if people who start the idea, put the budget down, and market the film are there right through, the film has a chance. If different people come in and take it over, they have their pet projects, so your project sits. And there's a lot of groups that fall along the wayside because of that fact. And that happened the second time. And after we recorded that album, If It Takes All Night was pulled as a single. It did real well in secondary markets across the country, but there was a feud going on between Columbia and our producer, Danny Serafin, who plays with Chicago. Chicago was with Columbia for, 10 years, a zillion hits, and their contract was up, so they were feuding. Our management was Fitzgerald Hartley, who handled Toto, still do handle Toto. They were cold at the time. They were fighting for Toto's rights, and we got shoved in the closet.
You got
And
this memorized, don't you?
oh, geez, I lived it, you know. Hey.
He's got it down.
And let's see. In the meantime, everything was going downhill once again, and we hooked up on the Queen tour in 1980. It was the biggest tour, the Game tour, the biggest tour of that year, and did real well on the tour. And CBS people, we had a meeting with them shortly before we got the tour, who said, "You'll never get the tour. You have a chance like a snowball in hell to get the tour." And we got the tour, and we did very well on the tour, and it took us from Baton Rouge right to 3 days at Madison Square Garden over a 2.5-month period. And things were going real well after that, and because of the internal problems, politics, and this whole game is politics and timing. That's all it is. I mean, you have to be good, but I feel that, we were and have been. We've had the songs to do it, but timing and politics. But because of the politics, after the Queen tour, Madison Square Garden, it was like the bottom fell out. And CBS dropped the act because of the feuds that we weren't even involved in. We were just kind of guilty by association. And
Did you think that was, do you consider that your high point, that tour?
that was big. That was big. We put some dents in that, and the record sold very well. It's amazing how a record can sell a lot of units and be on a big tour like that, and because of politics, a label wanting to do the time of day. They wanted the project to die, and we wouldn't let it. And it went on for 6 months more than it should have. But that's rock and roll.
It's record companies, when they release a record, they really look for it to have some sort of momentum and life of its own. And if it does, 9 times out of 10, they jump on that record and just put lots of money and time, and they develop the artist. We were that 1 time out of 10 that there was so much other crap going on between the record company, our management, Chicago, guilty by association. There was no way they were going to support that record, unfortunately.
Did you guys get discouraged from all this, or did you look at it like you were confidence in yourselves and what you've done, and it was just these bad breaks, and did it really discourage you, or did you step back and say it's not?
We've always had confidence in our abilities, you know, as far as performing and writing and the whole thing. But I mean, you know, hey, we're only human. Of course, we got discouraged. You know,
I think you go through a period of mourning, you know, for what you think you were about to have or what you have, and then you lose it. You know, we played Madison Square Garden 3 nights after this great tour, and then our next gig was Cook's Aladdin Lounge in Wilkes-Barre. It's got to take the wind out of your sails, you know. And but you know, you got to get back up on the horse again.
Yeah,
so you go through
mistakes. The more you do something, the better you get at it, and it just doesn't.
Like drinking.
Why did I know? Why did I know something was coming?
How about bringing us up to date?
Okay, after that, the bottom fell out with that tour and everything. We just traveled on the road. I mean, you know, New York State Thruway. I mean, you know, we could do with our eyes closed.
We're lucky
know.
we stopped. That bridge collapsed.
No, I'm telling you. We just played and played and played and played. Survival.
There were times when we did do the New York Thruway with our eyes closed.
Yeah, well,
Ask Jeff Mitchell.
it's amazing we made it home some nights. But anyway, we just stayed on the road and survived. And it was right around the time after that, a lot of the new wave music came in. And when CBS dropped us, you know, with the material that we had after that, we couldn't get arrested. You know, we just couldn't get a deal.
We almost did. Couldn't.
Yeah, we couldn't get arrested. And after about 3 years, and we kind of sort of parted ways with Danny. You know, he was busy with his project, trying to rebuild Chicago and everything. They lost this one, lost that one. It was just like a mess. So we let it ride, and we felt that maybe it was a good time to go out on our own, find a new producer, a different approach and whatever. And, you know, Kelly had called Danny one time about a different matter, and they just started talking in the conversation. And Danny said, well, send me the new stuff. And after he heard the stuff, he said, you know, I think we could do it again, you know, if you guys want to do it. Then we got a deal with Full Moon, Warner Brothers. Irving Azoff, who's president of MCA, was with Full Moon. Full Moon was folding, but Irving wanted the band. He called us and said that, you know, I want to record the band. So we sat on Warner Brothers, of which when Full Moon folded, all the acts that were on Full Moon went to Warner's in like a holding tank. And him being affiliated with the Eagles and that whole, you know, syndrome, he wanted to make sure he had all his people that make him money first taken care of. So, but Danny did guarantee us that when Irving gets settled over there, he's going to bring you back over to MCA. That's where he went. And that's what happened. And Irving knew what he was doing. He probably bought us for 50 cents on the dollar.
The best possible results.
Turn down the sound on your television set and tune your receiver to 90.
I spent a lot of time in Philly. Or MMR all the time.
Is it any good?
This
Rolling?
song here is kind of hooky.
We're rolling.
I don't like it.
Okay, like I said, politics, and when there's no money in the budget for them to promote your record, I mean, you spend a year of your life writing the tunes, all the time, the budget, $150,000, you know, of their money, that's a tax write-off. Big business. You know, it's a big game to them, you know, and you just get caught in it, and you take a chance. If you spin the wheel and you get lucky, and you do get the promotion, you're a household word. And if not, you have some fun along the way, and you know, you get some bruises. But you know, that's the chance. No guarantees at all.
Right.
So that was
Well
the last
done.
record, right?
Great.
So, then what?
Well, after the Runaway album,
We got depressed.
you know, we got depressed. We got down a little bit.
It's like, one more time!
We got down.
How was your level on that?
Yeah. And
Send me the bill.
The headphones bounced off his head.
we decided to take a break, and instead of keeping a band out on the road, we just Jerry and I played as a duo. Rick teamed up with Lou Casa from Scranton and did a duo
Hi, Lou.
thing. And we played the small clubs in the area and just did that for a while. And we got tired of that. And I think we got hungry for the band feeling again. And we got a hold of Rick and said, let's get this going. And we were doing a trio. And we've been doing a trio ever since. So, and basically what we've been doing is doing some more writing and sending music out and play in the small clubs in the local area until now. And that's kind of where we're at.
In fact, we wrote a whole batch of tunes that may never get heard.
That's right. A whole
Son of a
batch.
bitch.
So now, in the midst of all this, I think we've all, especially over the past 2 years or so, have just kind of felt that, after you work a long time with people, the same people, I think we get predictable to each other. And
I knew you were going to say that.
and
It works. It works, you know?
And so that's kind of where we're at now, and we've had some discussions about it, some heated discussions about it, and what we should do and how we should do it, and for a large part, we really don't agree on a lot of things that we agreed on before, and rather than run it into the ground and hate each other's guts for the rest of our life, I think we're kind of parting ways at a time when we can sit back and be friends again. In fact, I think since we made the decision, the pressure just left. The pressure was just gone. And it was a good decision. It's the right decision for all of us to just go our separate ways and do what each of us feels we need to do.
It was time. I mean, people, when we left the boys and formed Jerry Kelly, people said, why did you guys wait so long? Why? And, the thing we said back then, it wasn't time until it was time. Same thing now. It was like, it's time. It's time to move on, and it's time to get a fresh outlook on who we are, what we're all about.
Some new hairstyles.
How do you feel about playing locally as opposed to when you were out across the nation and everything?
You got great support here, but, you need your support from your local fans, but your local fans in this area cannot take you where you want to go, where you need to go. And, it gets, it's nice when people all over the country, and this has happened, we've had airplay all over the place. People, have our records, in a lot of states in the union, and people go to concerts and they sing the lyrics to your song, and that's touching. But after a while, it's not enough. You give, so much night after night, year after year, it's just not enough after a while.
After a while, touching isn't enough. You just have to have more.
You need more to cut through the politics, because it gets old real quick, and we're not spring chickens anymore.
Speak for
That's true.
yourself.
I'm almost a spring chicken.
How about
Go like that again. Let me see those crow's feet.
how about the three-man band as opposed to a full band with a drummer?
That's kind of weird because as far, I don't know if I can speak for them, but as far as myself, I never really considered this a band, a real band, and it's a lot of people come out to us because we use the computer drummer, and a lot of people, musicians especially drummers, come out to us and say, "Why don't you guys got a real drummer?" We prefer to play with a real drummer. The problem is that
finances.
Yeah, finances. The last couple of years, we've just been trying to make a living, is make the top dollar that we can for the situation around these small club circuits. There's a lot of clubs we play in this area. We couldn't fit a drum kit if we wanted to, so we've gone with that. But
Bigger the production, the more money, and it's just like, it's not feasible right now, and it hasn't been. We were hoping that, in time it would have, the problem would have gone away, and we got a drummer and we got back out, another record and everything, but it didn't happen for a lot of reasons, But I mean,
it was good.
oh,
Dexter has done well. I mean,
Yeah, that's
let's hear
another
from
thing
Dexter.
besides
I mean,
the besides the financial thing, is I don't care what anybody says, nothing sounds, especially in a small situation where you're limited with acoustics, nothing sounds like a drum machine. It's perfect. It's perfect drums. The performance is perfect and the sound is perfect every night, and that gives you a lot of freedom as far as it improves your playing. You're playing with somebody who is dead on every night. Apologies to all you drummers out there, but the good ones know what I'm talking about.
But through the last 2 years of absence of the recording studio, as far as making an album for a major label, we just got further and further away from what we were all about, and the whole idea of, to use the word again, being predictable to ourselves and to our audience, and it just got to be a vicious cycle that had to stop. And we all need, as musicians, as creative people, we need a break from Dakota, from the style of music, from everything, so we can kind of plug in, recharge the batteries, and do do some more good, because I feel that we have done a lot of good, you know, as far as in the area since we started. And you know, in a way, somebody said, you know, yesterday that you guys were the pioneers of, you know, the people writing music and original things and having faith in themselves as far as being creative, you know, and that was a nice compliment. And you know, we're going to still continue to do that, but just in a different way. But us, just like anybody else, I mean, we're only human too. We have to put the battery in. You guys had to go out and recharge your battery. So do we.
And we need a break from these interviews. I mean, geez.
How about
They're so predictable.
Where you go from here?
Home.
I'm going home from here.
Yeah, I'm going on.
Welfare.
Beyond that?
We had a strange organization too. We had a lot of really bizarre rules. Like we had them up here. If you zoom in on this here, 9 to 6. We would only work 9 to 6 weekends, holidays. Anyone 2 to 6 must be potty. Did you get potty trained?
Yes.
Okay. He just finished that. 3 tries and finished. This is we charge $2 an hour, and our parents are not allowed on stage.
Yes.
You about your last performance?
It was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, that was a lot. That was the most people ever paying attention to me at one time. Damn sure. It's great. Oh, it's my.
Well, see, we used to have a lot of that.
No problem. No problem.
You know, the big stages, you know, 10, 15,000 people, and, you know, it's fun. But they're too far and few between. It wasn't enough over the last years of the career as a band to, you know, keep us hanging in there. And, you know, like I said, we're not retiring, we're not giving up, whatever. It's just that, you know, right now we decided to, you know, in respect for the name and what we try to build and have built, you know, to retire the name, retire the music, and move on from there. We're in.
We're gonna miss you too. Before we go, we just want to say that there's not much else we can say at this point, you know what I mean? You people have been real special to us for the last 17 years, you know? And we love you. We really, really do. This is for you people. This is for you people. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Say